Hello. Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's short story, Magic Accident, by Olivia Julius. Chapter 1, Just One Little Spell. Noah waited until the garage door groaned shut behind his mom's minivan before he made his move. He pressed his face to the living room window, watching the taillights vanish down the street. Only when he was sure she was gone, actually gone, did he bolt. Up the stairs. Down the hallway. Into his room. The door clicked shut behind him, and he locked it. Not because anyone else was home, he was totally alone, but because magic always worked better when you weren't nervous someone would barge in and catch you mid-chant. Mom's warning echoed in his head, stern and sharp. No magic unless I'm with you. I mean it, Noah. It's not a toy.
Yeah.
Well. So was her blender, but she used that for fun. He figured spells were kind of the same. It wasn't like he was summoning demons or turning frogs into princes. He just wanted to try one spell. Maybe two. He reached under his bed and pulled out the red shoebox. Inside, the tiny spell book he'd snuck out of the attic practically hummed with energy. The pages were old, cracked, yellow, and whispery, but the words were written in neat ink, and some even shimmered. Noah flipped to the section labeled Beginner's Charms. Most were harmless. Glowing marbles. Levitating paperclips. Echo spells. Little stuff. Safe stuff. Probably. He held his breath, chose one, and started to read aloud. By light of day and shadows fall. Make this paper float, not fall. The sheet of paper trembled on his desk. A flicker of magic buzzed in his fingertips. Noah grinned. It worked. He had no idea what would happen next. Noah's eyes went wide as the paper hovered inches above his desk, swaying gently like it was caught in a breeze no one else could feel. Whoa, he whispered, heart pounding. That actually worked. He reached out and nudged it with a finger. It drifted sideways, resisting gravity, floating as if it weighed no more than a bubble. The thrill rushed through him, warm and electric. He had just done magic. Real, actual, nobody's helping him magic. And nothing exploded. He was fine. Better than fine. Grinning, Noah flipped the book open again, thumbing past the Beginner's Charms section. His fingers stopped on a spell titled, Comfort Magnified. The description read. A charm to make the smallest pillow the fluffiest and most huggable. Useful for naps, nests, and nap nests. Noah snorted. Nap nests? Still, it sounded safe enough. He grabbed his wand, really just an old paintbrush with the bristles snapped off, and aimed it at the throw pillow on his bed. Velium Patica Mondo. At first, nothing happened. Then the pillow shivered. It puffed. It grew. Noah stumbled backward as the pillow doubled, tripled, and quadrupled in size. In less than 5 seconds, it was the size of an inflatable raft, billowing out across his bed, swallowing his sheets, climbing halfway up his wall. Whoa, whoa, stop, he shouted, waving his wand. I didn't mean that big. But the pillow wasn't listening. It kept inflating, whooshing with a low thump like a balloon being filled with marshmallows. It pressed against the ceiling now, bending his light fixture, oozing into the corners like a puffed-up cloud with no off switch. Noah yanked the spellbook open and flipped pages in a panic. Cancel spell, cancel spell, cancel spell. He couldn't find anything fast enough. With a final whomp, the pillow stopped growing. It didn't burst, but it did wobble threateningly, like it might. Noah just stared. His bed was gone. His desk was half buried. His room looked like a pillow factory had exploded. Okay, he whispered, slowly sinking to the carpet. Maybe I went a little too big. Outside, a car passed by. He jumped. What if his mom came back early? What if she smelled the magic? He'd have to hide the spellbook. Hide the wand. Maybe even deflate the pillow, somehow. Noah didn't know how long he sat there, staring at the monstrous cushion slowly sagging toward his bookshelf. But one thing was for sure. He had to be more careful. Next time, he promised himself. Just one more spell. Maybe two. Noah sat cross-legged on the floor, the giant pillow casting a soft shadow over him. His heart was still racing, but now from excitement, not fear. One more. Just one more spell. He flipped back to the spell book. A faded flap near the spine had a spell scrawled in crooked ink, the title scratched out with heavy black lines. The edges of the page were torn like someone had tried to rip it out, but given up halfway. Noah hesitated. Why would someone hide this spell? Then again, maybe it was just damaged. Old books get beat up all the time, he told himself. And besides, if it was dangerous, it'd probably have a warning, right? The spell itself was still visible. Meroris anima mutatio. He squinted at the looping letters. Veriti corpus revelatum. The moment he finished speaking, the wand in his hand twitched. A pulse of warmth buzzed up his arm, and a swirl of invisible air whipped around him. The spellbook's pages rustled like they were caught in a windstorm, though the windows were all shut tight. Noah opened his mouth to say something, but stopped. His fingers tingled. He looked down. His hands were changing. His fingers grew slimmer, more delicate. His wrists narrowed, his arms shrinking and softening before his eyes. The sleeves of his hoodie pulled down past his fingertips like they were suddenly too big, until the fabric itself began to shimmer and shift. What the? His voice cracked halfway through, rising a full octave. Then another. The hoodie was changing, no, transforming. The thick cotton grew thinner, lighter, flowing down past his knees in soft ripples. The sleeves curled up into puffed shoulders, and the neckline gently opened into a rounded scoop trimmed in delicate lace. His plain blue hoodie had become a dusty pink dress, complete with little embroidered flowers climbing up the bodice. He reached to pull it off, but froze as his legs tingled too. His jeans deflated around his legs, seams unthreading and twisting like ribbon. The denim unraveled into silky material, reshaping into a matching skirt that poofed out gently with a soft crinkle of tulle underneath. A tiny ribbon bow appeared at his waist. His socks shimmered into white tights, and his sneakers curled into glossy pink Mary Janes with tiny silver hearts on the straps. Noah gasped, but even that sounded different. High. Light. Girly. He reached up to his head just as his hair tickled his neck. Dark brown locks flowed down in waves, brushing his shoulders, soft and glossy. A clip snapped into place all on its own, parting his bangs neatly to the side with a little butterfly charm. He stared at the mirror across the room. The girl staring back blinked. She had his eyes, same curious brown, but everything else had shifted. Softer cheeks. Smaller nose. No hint of the boy who had snuck up here to do magic. Noah stumbled back a step, dress swishing around his legs. No, this isn't right. The spellbook had fluttered shut. The title was still scratched out. Maybe for a reason. Noah backed away from the mirror like it had growled at him. But it hadn't. It had just reflected the truth. Her truth. She crept forward, heart pounding like a drum in her chest, and stared. The girl in the mirror blinked again, timid, confused, scared. Her big brown eyes shimmered with disbelief. Her cheeks were rounder. Her chin softer. Her lips a little fuller. Her lashes, he blinked again, why are my lashes so long? He reached a hand to her face. The girl in the mirror did the same. The reflection wasn't lying. This was him. Noah. Except, not. He turned slowly from side to side, watching how the pink dress swayed with every motion, how the light from the window shimmered faintly on the embroidered flowers. It felt real, not like a costume, not like something he could peel off. The soft fabric hugged his body like it had always belonged there. His legs looked shorter now, thinner. The tights made his feet feel oddly snug, and every little move sent the skirt brushing softly around his knees. The Mary Janes made soft clicks against the floor when he stepped. And his hair, he grabbed 2 handfuls of it. Why is it so long? He squeaked, then clapped both hands over his mouth. That voice. That soft, high-pitched voice. It was his. No, 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 this can't be real, he whispered, eyes darting around the room. He spun on his heel, then immediately tripped over his own feet and tumbled onto the giant pillow with a loud poof. The air whooshed out of him as the frilly skirt flared up around his hips like a tutu. He scrambled to push it down, suddenly very aware of how different everything felt. This is so bad, he moaned, grabbing the spell book again. What kind of spell does this? He flipped to the page, the one with the scratched-out title. The letters blurred as panic and frustration burned in his chest. There was no undo listed. No counterspell. No footnote or warning. Only a blank space where the name should have been. He stood up, wobbling slightly, brushing his hair out of his eyes with trembling fingers. Okay. Calm down, Noah. You just need to reverse the spell. Or hide it. Or. A sound. Car tires crunching in the driveway. His heart stopped. Mom. She was back. And Noah was very much not himself. Noah froze as the sound of the garage door began to grind open. She's home. He tossed the spellbook under his bed and bolted across the room, the hem of his pink dress fluttering around his knees. He nearly tripped again but caught himself on the edge of his dresser. His fingers flew to the zipper in the back of the dress. Come on, he hissed, yanking and tugging. It finally came loose, and he wriggled out of the frilly thing like it was on fire. It slid to the floor in a puddle of lace and satin. Still breathing hard, Noah yanked open his top drawer. Relief poured over him. His clothes were all still there, normal clothes. Boy clothes. Untouched. He grabbed a pair of his favorite jean shorts and a plain blue t-shirt and threw them on as fast as he could. The denim felt stiff and solid. The shirt was slightly wrinkled but familiar, safe. He let out a long breath. Okay, he whispered to himself. I can fix this. I just have to act normal. Just wait until tonight. Then I'll figure it out. He turned back to the mirror, bracing himself to see himself again. Instead, his eyes widened. The denim shimmered. A faint ripple ran across the fabric like a heat wave bending the air. Then, before his eyes, the shorts shortened, the seams tugging and reshaping. The leg holes curved outward, the fabric thinning and fading into a pale blue denim skirt, soft and flared. No, he gasped, grabbing at the hem. But it was too late. The t-shirt gave a soft whoosh, the sleeves shrinking into thin straps. The neckline dipped into a gentle scoop, and the color shifted from blue to a cheerful, bubblegum pink. In less than 5 seconds, he was back in girly clothes again, this time a casual outfit, but still undeniably feminine. His reflection blinked. The girl in the mirror was back. Just as the doorknob downstairs clicked. Noah, his mother called. I'm home. He stared at the mirror, stunned. The magic wasn't done with him yet. Chapter 2: Frills and Fibbing. Noah froze. His mom's footsteps echoed from the hallway downstairs. He didn't have time to think, he moved. He lunged across the room, yanking the closet door open and diving inside just as her footsteps reached the top of the stairs. He slammed the door shut behind him, pressing his back against his hanging shirts and holding his breath. His heart thundered in his chest. The denim skirt brushed his thighs. The pink tank top clung to him like it was glued on. Every breath reminded him he was not wearing what he was supposed to. He clamped his hands over his mouth and stood perfectly still. Noah, his mom called again, closer now. Are you upstairs? Why?
Yeah.
He squeaked before he could stop himself. His eyes widened. That voice. Still not normal. It wasn't high exactly, not like a cartoon girl, but lighter, smoother, definitely not the voice that used to yell across the basketball court. There was a pause. Then, "You okay?" "Fine," he blurted. "I'm just cleaning my room. You told me to. Remember?" Another pause. "Okay," she said, suspicious but not pressing. "I've got groceries in the car. Come help me when you're done." "Sure," he said. 2 seconds. He heard her retreating footsteps, back toward the stairs. Noah let out a shaky breath. The closet was hot and smelled like old socks. A hanger poked him in the shoulder. He leaned forward and peeked through the slats of the door. The room looked mostly normal. Except for the massive pillow taking up half the floor. And the spellbook barely hidden under his bed. And, well, him. He looked down again, hoping, begging, the clothes would change back. But the skirt stayed a skirt. The tank top stayed pink.
Ugh.
He groaned quietly, burying his face in his hands. Why is this happening? His voice sounded just as wrong in a whisper. He looked over his shoulder toward the back of the closet, where his old Halloween stuff was piled in a box. He had to find something, anything, to cover this up before his mom got suspicious. A hoodie. A blanket. A trash bag. His fingers darted through the box. He pulled out an old vampire cape, a cowboy hat, and a crumpled robe from some wizard costume. Nothing helpful. Nothing normal. Noah groaned. He wasn't sure how long he could keep hiding. But one thing was clear, the spell hadn't just changed him. It had latched on. And it wasn't going away without a fight. Noah waited in the closet until he couldn't hear her footsteps anymore. Then he made his move. Cracking the door open just enough to slip out, he tiptoed to his dresser and yanked out his black hoodie, the biggest one he owned. It had a silver lightning bolt on the front and a torn cuff from where he'd fallen off his bike last spring. It was big, baggy, and most importantly, normal. He shoved his arms into the sleeves and yanked it over his head in one quick motion. Finally, he muttered. Something that actually. His breath caught. The fabric rippled. Noah looked down in horror as the black color began to brighten, as if someone had turned up the saturation dial on a TV remote. The silver lightning bolt shimmered, then melted into a swirl of stars and glittery sparkles. Within seconds, the hoodie was no longer black. It was purple. Soft lavender purple, with pastel pink drawstrings. No, 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 come on, he groaned, clutching the front of it like he could squeeze the color back out. It didn't work. He rushed to the mirror, heart hammering again. There he was, still that girl version of himself, still stuck in the pink tank top and denim skirt, now awkwardly buried under a lavender hoodie that somehow looked like it belonged in a glitter unicorn commercial. Seriously? I just want to look normal, he hissed at his reflection. The girl in the mirror just looked back with the same frustrated pout. He turned to his shoes next. Okay. Shoes. Just shoes. Nothing fancy. They can't possibly change. He grabbed his plain white tennis shoes off the floor and jammed his feet into them one by one. The moment his heel hit the sole, the magic struck again. The rubber squeaked. A sparkle shimmered across the laces. He looked down in dread. The white canvas faded to pink. Not just any pink, bubblegum pink. The soles brightened into a creamy white, the laces turned into thin pink ribbons, and a tiny heart charm appeared at the end of each lace, bouncing like it was laughing at him. He let out a long, slow breath, staring at his feet. You've got to be kidding me. The spell wasn't just changing him. It was rewriting everything he tried to hide with. Noah stood in the middle of his room in a purple hoodie, a pink tank top, a denim skirt, and now, sparkly pink tennis shoes. He looked like he was about to audition for a role as Mall Girl Number 3. From downstairs, his mom's voice called again. Noah, are you coming or not? His heart thudded. He was running out of time. And magic was clearly not on his side. Noah bit his lip, glancing toward the door. He couldn't go downstairs like this. Not with the pink tank top under a lavender hoodie, not with a denim skirt swishing around his legs, and definitely not with shoes that had tiny hearts dangling from the laces. He had to stop this. He had to fix it. He dropped to his knees and reached under his bed, pulling out the red shoebox with trembling hands. The spellbook inside glowed faintly as if it knew it was in trouble. He yanked it open, flipping desperately through the crinkled pages. Come on, reversal spell, cancel spell, anything. His fingers landed on a short entry at the bottom of a page labeled Reflections and Reveals. Undo what has been done, return me to the only one. Close enough. He didn't even stop to read the rest. Noah raised his wand paintbrush and shouted, Refuse him for me. Reditus me. The tip of the wand glowed bright pink. Wait, pink? A sudden whoosh of air blasted through the room, lifting papers off his desk and fluttering his curtains. The giant pillow quivered. The light bulb overhead flickered. Then everything changed. The room pulsed. Noah clutched the dresser for balance as the carpet beneath his feet shimmered and shifted. The plain gray rug melted into a soft plush white, with a pattern of pastel rainbows spiraling from corner to corner. He turned in a panic just as the walls rippled. The blue paint faded. Bright streaks of bubblegum and cotton candy pink washed over every surface, covering up his basketball poster and robot decal in a heartbeat. His bookshelf trembled, then repainted itself in white with heart-shaped handles. No. His video game posters vanished, replaced by sparkling cursive letters that read, Shine bright, princess. His plain desk morphed into a curvy vanity with a heart-shaped mirror. A jewelry box popped into existence on top of it, glittering as it opened to reveal earrings, bracelets, and butterfly hair clips. Even his bed groaned. The dark blue comforter ruffled and twisted, transforming into a pink and purple bedspread with a tiara-shaped pillow front and center. Stuffed animals blinked into existence, rabbits, ponies, kittens, lining the bed like they'd always been there. Noah turned in a slow circle, jaw hanging open. His room was no longer his. It was a girl's room. A magical, sparkling, princessy girl's room. And he was still dressed like he belonged in it. Downstairs, a cabinet slammed shut. Noah, his mom called again, voice a little more impatient. Everything okay? Noah swallowed hard, staring at the glittery heart-shaped mirror across the room. No, he whispered. Everything is not okay. Noah's stomach dropped as he heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps on the stairs. No. He whirled toward the door, panic exploding in his chest. He grabbed the closest thing he could, a sparkly pink throw pillow, and hurled it under the bed. Then another. But there was too much. Too much pink. Too many stuffed animals. Too much frill. The vanity was glowing. The heart-shaped mirror winked at him. He lunged for the light switch, flicking it off, hoping the shadows might hide the horror show his room had become. Too late. Knock knock. Noah, his mom's voice called through the door. You didn't answer me. Are you feeling okay? Why?
Yeah.
Fine, he called back, voice still unnervingly high. Totally fine. Just, cleaning really hard. There was a pause. Then the doorknob turned. Wait, Mom, don't. The door creaked open. And she stepped inside. Her eyes swept the room once. She blinked. Twice. She looked at the pink walls. The tiara pillow. The sparkling vanity. The stuffed unicorn sitting proudly on Noah's desk next to a glitter pen and a box of lip gloss. Her mouth opened slightly. Noah, she said slowly. What is going on? Noah stood in the middle of the room, frozen, dressed in a lavender hoodie and a denim skirt, pink tennis shoes shining like beacons at his feet. I can explain, he whispered. His mom raised her eyebrows. I would love to hear it. Chapter 3 The truth comes out. Noah's cheeks burned. He stood in the middle of the bubblegum pink room, hands clenched at his sides, heart thudding in his chest like a warning bell. His mom stood just inside the doorway, arms crossed, expression unreadable as she took in the stuffed animals, the sparkly decor, the new outfit, him. "Well," she asked gently, but firmly. "I'm listening." Noah swallowed. "I." His voice cracked again. Still that higher pitch. "Still not right. This isn't what it looks like." His mom raised one eyebrow. Noah flinched. "Okay. Maybe it is what it looks like. But it wasn't on purpose. I didn't mean to do any of this." He sat down hard on the edge of his bed, his pink, heart-covered, puffy comforter, and dropped his face into his hands. I was curious," he mumbled. "You always said not to use magic unsupervised, but I thought I'd just try one little spell. Just to float a paper or something. It worked. So I tried another one. And that's when I changed." His mom didn't say anything. Noah peeked at her through his fingers. "I turned into a girl," he said softly. "And now the spell's making everything around me match. It changed my clothes. And when I tried to undo it," he gestured hopelessly around the room, "it changed everything." His mom let out a long breath and stepped further into the room. She sat beside him on the edge of the bed. "You found the page with the scratched-out title, didn't you?" Noah blinked.
Yeah.
"That spell is ancient," she said. "It's called a growth imprint. It's not just a transformation spell, it's a spell that wraps around your identity and builds on it. It doesn't just change your body, it changes your environment, your belongings, even how magic reacts to you." Noah stared at her, wide-eyed. "So it's like, it thinks this is the new me? A girl who wears pink and sparkles and hearts." His mom gave him a soft smile. "Yes. Because that's what you became when you cast it. And now the spell is shaping the world around you to match that new form. Every time you try to fix it without undoing the core magic, you're just giving it more room to grow." Noah groaned and flopped back on the bed, arms over his face. "Please tell me you can fix it. Like, really fix it. Turn me back. Undo everything." His mom paused. Then said, carefully, "I can turn you back. But..." Noah lifted one arm off his face. "But? You will go back to normal," she said gently. "But first, I think you need to stay like this, just a little longer." His heart skipped. "What? Why?" "Because magic isn't a toy, Noah. It has consequences. And this," she gestured to the room, "the outfit, all of it, is a chance for you to experience what happens when you use it without thinking. It's not punishment. It's a lesson. And I'll be right here the whole time." Noah sat up, mouth open. "But, how long is a little longer? A day? A week? A month?" His mom smiled and stood up, ruffling his newly long hair. "That depends on you," she said. "Now come downstairs. I saved you some chocolate croissants. And I'd love to see how your new shoes sound on the tile." Noah stared at her. Then at the mirror. Then at his sparkly pink sneakers.
Oh no.
He muttered. And then he followed her. Squeak. 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 Noah squeaked with every step down the stairs, each footfall from his glittery pink shoes sounding like a high-pitched betrayal on the hardwood floor. He had hoped, desperately, that maybe he'd get to lay low the rest of the day, maybe even hide in his transformed room with the door shut and a blanket over his head. But when he reached the kitchen, his mom was already zipping up her purse and slipping on her sandals. "All right," she said cheerfully, "let's go." Noah blinked. Go? Go where? His mom opened the back door, letting in a wave of hot summer air. Jake's house. Noah's heart dropped. What? No, why? I can't go out like this. He pointed to himself, still dressed in the pink tank top and denim skirt, the ribbons on his shoes swaying with every move. I look like a totally different person. His mom glanced at him with a soft smile. I know, sweetie. But we need something Jake's mom has. An ingredient for the reversal. Noah's stomach twisted. Jake's mom also did magic. She was the reason Jake had the coolest little flying broomstick in their friend group and the only kid who could make soda fizz out of cans with a snap of his fingers. But that didn't matter right now. What mattered was Jake, his best friend, seeing him like this. No way, Noah said, stepping back toward the stairs. I'll wait until you get it. I'll hide under my bed. I'll do anything, just don't make me go outside like this. His mom raised an eyebrow. It's 90 degrees, Noah. You won't want your hoodie. But, he tugged at the hem of it anyway, fidgeting. She gave him that look again. He sighed in defeat. Reluctantly, he peeled off the hoodie, letting the warm air hit his bare shoulders. The tank top clung to him more than he liked, the thin straps making him feel seen in a way he really didn't want to be seen. The denim skirt was light and breezy, but every step made him feel like the whole world would notice he wasn't supposed to be wearing it. I look ridiculous, he mumbled, arms crossed tightly over his chest. You look cute, his mom said, straightening a wrinkle in the hem of his skirt. Mom, he hissed, face going red. She laughed, grabbed the car keys, and headed for the garage. Noah hesitated in the doorway, staring down at his shiny pink shoes. The sunlight outside was bright. Too bright. Everything out there felt sharp and real. And permanent. What if Jake laughed? What if he didn't recognize him? What if he did? He took a deep breath and stepped outside. The sun was warm on his legs. The breeze tickled his hair. His skirt fluttered as he walked, and every step made the ribbon-laced sneakers squeak. He was going to Jake's house. As a girl. And there was no hiding it now. The car ride felt like it was happening in slow motion. Noah sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, arms folded tightly across his chest. His pink tank top shifted with every bump in the road, and his denim skirt barely reached his knees when he sat down, something he hadn't considered until it was already too late. Every time he shifted, he felt the cool breeze from the air conditioning sneak underneath the skirt's hem. And every time he glanced down, the heart charms on his pink sneakers winked up at him. He pulled his legs in tighter and groaned. This is a nightmare, he muttered under his breath. His mom glanced at him but said nothing. Noah slouched lower in the seat and tried to breathe. Just get through this. In and out. Grab the ingredient. Don't even make eye contact. But his mind was already spiraling. What if Jake laughs? Jake was his best friend. They'd built forts together. Traded comics. Pulled harmless pranks. They'd even spent an entire summer trying to figure out how to make a soda can explode using only magic and bad ideas. He was supposed to be safe. But this? This was different. What if he doesn't recognize me? Hey. Do I know you? It's me. Noah. Wait, what? You're a... Or worse, what if he does recognize me? Dude. You're wearing a skirt. You look like you belong in a sparkly commercial. Is that pink? Noah cringed. He imagined Jake pointing. Laughing. Texting photos to the whole class. Or worse, trying to be nice and pretend like nothing was weird. That might be even more humiliating. He tugged at the tank top again, as if maybe he could stretch it into a t-shirt with sheer force of will. Why couldn't the spell have turned me into a wizard or a monster or something cool? Why did it have to be a girl? With hearts. And ribbons? Asterisk. Another thought hit him. What if Jake's mom doesn't even have the ingredient? What if this is just me now? He pressed his forehead to the cool glass window. The worst part? Part of him knew Jake wouldn't be mean. Jake wasn't that kind of kid. But still. This wasn't just about looking silly. This was about being seen differently. And what if Jake does see me differently now? His heart thudded in his chest, louder than the hum of the tires on the road. They were getting close. Too close. His mom turned onto Jake's street. Noah sat up straight, hugging his arms tighter, bracing himself. The next few minutes were either going to be the most awkward in his life, or the most magical fix ever. He really hoped it was the second one. The car pulled into the driveway with a soft crunch of gravel. Noah's stomach did a full somersault. Jake's house stood just as he remembered it, brick steps, flower pots on the porch, the little metal wind chime by the door jingling in the breeze. There was a scooter lying in the grass, and the garage door was cracked open just enough to see the familiar mess of boxes, tools, and enchanted clutter Jake's mom was always experimenting with. This should have felt like visiting home. Instead, it felt like walking into a trap. His mom shifted into park and turned off the engine. "Okay," she said cheerfully. "Let's go." Noah didn't move. "Actually," he said quickly, "maybe I should stay in the car. You know, just in case there's more side effects from the spell. What if I start glowing or turn into a squirrel or something?" His mom gave him a look. Noah. Or maybe Jake's mom could just throw the ingredient from the porch. Like a magical drive-through. "I don't even need a bag." Noah. "I'm serious," he hissed. "What if Jake sees me?" She smiled gently. "Then he sees you. And that's okay." He sank lower in the seat, pulling the seatbelt across his chest like a shield. "You say that, but you didn't just show up to your best friend's house wearing a skirt and pink shoes." His mom opened her door. Noah's eyes widened. "Wait, can't you at least go knock first? Let me hide under something. Maybe transform into a shadow? Or a fern?" But before she could even step out, the front door opened. Noah's breath caught. And out walked Jake. Wearing basketball shorts. A tank top. Holding a popsicle in one hand and a wand in the other. He squinted at the car, clearly curious. Then his eyes landed on Noah. Noah ducked, but not fast enough. Jake blinked. "Noah?" Noah winced. Slowly, painfully, he sat up. Jake took a few steps forward, licking his popsicle, still staring. "Dude, is that you?" Noah tried to melt into the seat. "Hey." Jake blinked again. "Why are you wearing?" Noah cut him off. "Magic accident. Long story. I'm working on it." Jake looked him up and down, pink tank top, denim skirt, heart charm sneakers, and to Noah's surprise, he didn't laugh. He didn't smirk. He just blinked again, then took another bite of his popsicle. "Whoa. That's kinda wild," Jake said. "You look like someone who'd be the main character in a magical baking show." Noah blinked. "Is that a compliment?" Jake shrugged. "I like baking shows." Noah let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Maybe this wasn't going to be so bad. Jake's room hadn't changed a bit. Posters of dragons and enchanted skateboards still lined the walls. His desk was cluttered with half-finished spells, glowing crystals, and what looked like a floating slingshot in a jar. A broomstick leaned in the corner, humming faintly, and his bean-bag chair still had the same orange cheese puff stain from last year's movie night. Noah sat on the edge of Jake's bed, fidgeting with the hem of his skirt and avoiding eye contact. His knees were pressed together. His shoulders hunched. He felt small. Jake plopped into his desk chair, spinning halfway toward him while munching the last of his popsicle. "So," Jake said casually, "you accidentally turned yourself into a girl?" Noah nodded slowly.
Yeah.
Jake leaned back, letting the silence settle. "And now your clothes are changing to match, and your room did too?" Noah nodded again, eyes still fixed on the floor. "And your voice is all soft and high and stuff." "Yes, Jake," Noah snapped, blushing furiously. "I know." Jake held up a hand. Hey, I'm not judging. Just trying to get the whole picture. Noah sighed and slumped forward. It's just weird, okay? I don't feel like myself. Everything's different. I look in the mirror and it's not me. It's like I'm stuck in someone else's story. Jake was quiet for a moment. I mean, you kinda still look like you, he offered. Your eyes are the same. And your forehead gets all scrunchy when you're annoyed. See? He pointed. You're doing it right now. Noah glared. I am annoyed. Jake laughed.
Yeah,
That's you, all right. Noah cracked a reluctant smile, but then it faded. I didn't think it would feel this strange, he admitted softly. I thought I could fix it fast. But the longer it lasts, the more I feel like I'm disappearing. Like this version of me is taking over. Every time I try to change back, the magic just doubles down. Jake nodded thoughtfully, spinning in his chair.
yeah,
Growth imprint spells are clingy like that. My mom used one to enchant her tomato plants and now they grow in heart shapes and sing lullabies at night. No one knows how to shut them up. Noah gave him a look. This is worse than tomato plants, Jake. Fair. They sat in silence again. Then Jake said, more seriously, does it hurt? Noah shook his head. Not physically. It just feels wrong. Like wearing someone else's name tag. Everyone still sees me, but it's the wrong me. Jake leaned forward. Well, I still see you. Even if your shoes are kind of ridiculous. Noah snorted. You're one to talk. You wore light-up sneakers until 6th grade. They were enchanted, thank you. They both laughed. For a moment, Noah felt lighter. Still confused. Still weird. But not so alone. There was a knock on the door, and both boys looked up. Jake's mom poked her head in, followed by Noah's mom just behind her. They were smiling, but it was the kind of smile that made Noah instantly nervous. We've got good news, Jake's mom said brightly, stepping into the room. We've figured out how to reverse the spell. Noah sat up straighter. Wait, really? His mom nodded. The ingredient we needed was in Jake's mom's garden. We're brewing it now in her workshop. Jake grinned. Told you she could fix it. Noah's heart lifted, finally, things were going back to normal. But, Jake's mom added, glancing at her watch, the spell has to steep for a few hours. 3, at least. Maybe 4. Noah blinked. Oh. So, his mom continued, clapping her hands together, we're all going out to eat. Noah's stomach dropped. Out? Like, in public. Jake raised an eyebrow.
yeah,
Where else do people eat? I can't go out like this. Noah gestured to his outfit, the pink tank top, the skirt, the glittery shoes that jingled slightly every time he moved. This is not casual wear. You'll be fine, his mom said gently. It's just a local place. Quiet. Outdoor seating. I'll wear the hoodie. Noah said quickly, standing up. I'll keep the hood up the whole time. I'll pretend I'm sick or weirdly obsessed with shadows. Jake's mom chuckled and opened Jake's closet. Noah froze. Wait, what are you doing? I'm getting you something to wear, she said, rifling through the hangers. Ah, here. She pulled out a light blue button-up shirt, a pair of white socks, and polished black dress shoes. These will do nicely. Noah's face went pale. No, you can't just give me regular clothes. His mom looked confused. Honey, isn't that what you want? No, he said, panicking. I mean yes, but not like that. You saw what happens. If I put those on, they'll turn into something else. They always do. Jake's mom turned toward him, still holding the clothes. And what, exactly, do you think they'll become? Noah sighed miserably. The shirt'll turn into a dress. The socks will turn into tights. And the shoes? Probably black Mary Janes with bows or something equally awful. Jake's mom smiled. Exactly. That's how the spell works. Wait, you knew? His mom gently patted his shoulder. Sweetheart, it's a growth imprint. It's adapting everything to reflect your current magical state. The more you resist it, the more expressive it gets. Noah groaned and sank into Jake's bed. So what you're saying is, I can't win. Jake's mom chuckled and tossed the clothes into his lap. We're saying, you've got a few more hours left. Might as well look cute while we wait. Jake grinned. You're gonna look like you're headed to a fancy tea party. Shut up, Jake. Noah stared down at the clothes in his lap, already feeling the tingle of magic in the fabric, like they were eager to change. His mom tapped her wristwatch. You've got 10 minutes, hon. Noah groaned into a pillow. The worst part? He already knew what he was going to do. He was going to put them on. And let the magic win. Again. Noah sat on the edge of Jake's bed, staring at the neatly folded clothes in his lap like they were ticking time bombs. The button-up shirt felt harmless enough in his hands. It was just cotton. Light blue. Crisp. Completely normal. Too normal. He looked up. Jake had turned around in his chair, respectfully giving him some space, but Noah could still feel his eyes occasionally sneaking glances. Jake's mom and his own mom had stepped out to let him change. Noah sighed. Okay. Let's just get this over with. He took off the tank top and skirt, folded them in a pile beside the bed, and slipped the button-up shirt over his arms. For one blissful moment, it stayed a button-up. He even started doing up the front, daring to believe maybe, just maybe, the magic had given him a break. Then came the shimmer. It started at the cuffs. The sleeves tightened slightly, the fabric becoming smoother, silkier. The collar shrank and folded down into a rounded Peter Pan shape. The buttons melted away into tiny decorative bows as the hem dropped past his hips, down his thighs, fluttering out into a knee-length dress. The light blue darkened ever so slightly, turning more periwinkle, with white trim at the sleeves and hem. A satin ribbon tied itself around the waist into a bow at the back. Noah sat there, arms raised mid-button, eyes wide as the transformation completed itself. He groaned and let his hands fall into his lap. Dress. Again, he muttered. He reached for the socks. Let me guess. He tugged them on one at a time, and just as expected, the moment the fabric settled against his skin, they rippled. The cotton elongated up his legs, growing thinner and tighter. The plain white shifted into semi-sheer white tights with subtle floral patterns swirling around the ankles and calves. He wiggled his toes in dread. Then picked up the dress shoes. I already know what you're gonna do, he told them, deadpan. He shoved his feet in anyway. The leather creaked, and almost instantly the shape began to bend and curl. The fronts rounded, a strap formed across the top, and tiny silver buckles appeared on each side. The black polish lightened slightly and turned glossier. Noah stood up and looked down at the new pair of shiny black Mary Janes on his feet, each one completed with a little white bow above the toes. Jake looked over his shoulder. Whoa, he said. Okay, I was joking earlier, but you actually do look like you're headed to a fancy tea party. Don't start, Noah warned, cheeks burning. Jake held up his hands. Hey, you wear it better than I would. Noah scowled and turned to the mirror by Jake's closet. There she was again. The girl in the mirror. Hair slightly tousled from pulling off the tank top. A periwinkle dress with lace and bows. Patterned tights. Shiny shoes. Soft features. Small frame. Still him. Sort of. But the longer he looked, the harder it was to remember what him used to look like. He turned away quickly. From down the hall, their moms called, "Ready?" Noah took a deep breath and whispered to himself, just 3 more hours. Then he walked to the door, his shoes tapping daintily on the hardwood. Noah stepped out of Jake's room, the soft click of his Mary Jane's echoing in the hallway like a countdown. His cheeks were red. His arms were stiff at his sides. The dress swished with every hesitant step, and the patterned tights clung like a second skin. He half expected Jake to burst out laughing behind him, but he didn't. That was almost worse. In the kitchen, both moms looked up as he entered. Noah's mom smiled warmly. "There you are." Jake's mom clapped her hands together, beaming. "Oh, that turned out adorable." Noah glared. "I feel like I'm dressed for a princess-themed piano recital." "You look lovely," his mom said, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "And very presentable for lunch." Noah folded his arms. "This is so unfair. Can't I just wear, like, a hoodie and jeans and hide in the back seat with a hat over my face?" Jake's mom chuckled. "Nice try, but you'd just turn them into something lacy and fashionable again. And trust me, lace is itchy when you sweat." Before Noah could protest more, his mom's voice turned gentle, but serious. "Noah, while we're out, I need you to understand something important." He raised an eyebrow. "What?" "You can't tell anyone about the spell." His heart skipped. "But, what if someone asks? Or if they notice something weird?" Jake's mom stepped in. "They won't, unless you draw attention to yourself. But you can't risk anyone knowing you used magic like this. It's not just about embarrassment, it's dangerous to let magic like this be seen by normal people. There are rules, even outside of school." Noah's mom nodded. "So while we're out, we're going to treat this like it's just normal life. No spells, no magic talk, and most importantly, no hint that you were ever anyone other than who you look like right now." Noah blinked, confused. "You mean?" Jake leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, grinning. "She means," his mom said gently, "while we're out, you'll go by a different name." Noah's stomach dropped. "What name?" There was a pause. Then his mom said softly, "Sarah." Noah stared at her. "Sarah?" She shrugged. "It suits the look. And it's close enough to Noah that you might respond naturally." Jake tried not to laugh. "You're so going to get a pink milkshake." Noah groaned, dropping his face into his hands. "I don't think I can survive this." His mom squeezed his shoulder. "You can. Just for a few hours. And then we'll fix everything." Noah peeked between his fingers. "Promise?" "Promise." He sighed. "Fine. But if someone calls me a princess, I'm throwing my salad at them." Chapter 4 Table for Sarah. The bell above the restaurant door jingled as Noah stepped inside, trying to shrink behind his mom without actually crawling underneath her skirt. The place was a quiet little cafe tucked in the corner of a downtown plaza, mostly outdoor seating, wood and metal chairs with floral cushions, and a chalkboard menu that smelled like roasted tomatoes and fresh bread. Under normal circumstances, Noah would have liked it. Today, it felt like a trap. He walked stiffly, each step of his shiny black Mary Jane's clicking against the floor like a neon sign pointing at his feet. His periwinkle dress fluttered slightly with every nervous breath. The tights were warm, and he swore everyone could hear the swish of them when he moved. His mom smiled at the hostess. "Table for 4, please." The hostess gave Noah a friendly smile.
Aww.
"Isn't she sweet?" "What's your name, hon?" Noah's mouth opened, and froze. His mom gently nudged him with her elbow. He swallowed hard. "As Sarah." The name tasted weird in his mouth. Like someone else had said it. He forced a smile. The hostess grinned. "Well, nice to meet you, Sarah. Right this way." Noah's ears burned as they followed her outside to a small round table beneath a striped umbrella. Jake flopped into a chair like it was the most normal day in the world. Noah sat carefully, adjusting his skirt to make sure it didn't ride up, while his mom and Jake's mom took the other seats. Menus were passed around. A breeze ruffled Noah's hair. "You okay?" Jake asked in a whisper, leaning toward him. Noah gave him a tight glare. You tell anyone, and I will haunt your spellbooks. Jake grinned. Just checking, Sarah. Noah groaned and buried his face behind the menu. Everything was pink or pastel themed. He flipped past items like sunshine sprout salad, blossom smoothies, and rainbow fruit stack. Even the drinks had names like lemonade twinkle and fluffberry fizz. Jake ordered a grilled cheese and tomato soup. His mom got a cranberry chicken salad. Noah's mom ordered a kale and pear wrap. Then it was Noah's turn. The waitress looked at him expectantly. And for you, sweetie? Noah peeked over the top of the menu. I'll just have the grilled cheese too. And what would you like to drink? Noah hesitated. Jake grinned across the table. I'll have water, Noah said quickly, just to be safe. The waitress nodded and scribbled it down. Coming right up, Sarah. Noah's shoulders sank. Second time. The name still didn't feel like it belonged to him. As the adults chatted about potion steeping times and magic regulations, coded in ways the nearby tables wouldn't notice, Noah sat quietly, stabbing at his napkin and fidgeting with the edge of his sleeve. Pretending to be a girl wasn't just about clothes or names. It was about sitting different. Talking quieter. Smiling more. Being seen differently, even by strangers. And somehow, no one batted an eye. The world just accepted that the quiet girl at the table in the periwinkle dress was Sarah. Not Noah. Not the boy who liked skateboarding and eating cereal out of the box and zapping soda cans with Jake. He picked at his fries when the food arrived, appetite barely hanging on. His mom caught his eye, her smile warm. You're doing great. Noah didn't answer. He just took a bite of his grilled cheese and stared at the pink flowers painted on the rim of his plate. 3 more hours, he told himself. Then maybe he'd be himself again. The rest of the meal crawled by. The grilled cheese was fine. The fries were warm. The water was cold. But Noah barely tasted any of it. Every forkful felt like a performance. Sit straight, don't slouch, don't scarf it down like you're in a video game marathon. He caught himself adjusting his dress every time he shifted in the chair, like the skirt had a mind of its own. Noah mostly stayed quiet while the moms chatted about potion timing and magical residue, and Jake started poking holes in his paper straw wrapper out of boredom. All the while, Noah kept glancing around, hoping no one from school would walk by and recognize Sarah, the unfamiliar girl in the floral outdoor cafe. But then the worst thing happened. Halfway through sipping his water, Noah felt a sharp pressure in his lower stomach. He blinked. Then froze. No. No, 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 no. He shifted in his seat. Crossed his legs. Uncrossed them. Sat up straighter. Slouched. Nothing helped. He needed to pee. Badly. His heart pounded as he turned toward his mom and whispered, I have to go to the bathroom. She raised an eyebrow. Okay, honey. I'll go with you. Noah's face flushed. Why? She leaned closer and said softly, because you haven't exactly had to navigate this situation before. Jake nearly choked on his lemonade, snorting into his cup. Noah glared at him. Then looked back at his mom, horrified. You mean I have to learn how to? She gave a sympathetic shrug. It's part of the experience. And part of the body the spell gave you. Just another reason we don't use advanced transformation magic without supervision. Noah groaned and buried his face in his hands. This was it. The final straw. The dress, the tights, the shoes, the name, all of it had been bad enough. But this? This was too much. I want to be a boy again, he muttered. His mom gave his hand a squeeze. You will be. I promise. Just a little longer. We're almost there. He looked up, eyes wide with panic. But I'm not going to make it another minute unless I figure out how this body works. Jake snickered across the table. Try not to fall in. Not helping, Noah snapped. His mom stood up and nodded toward the restrooms. Come on, Sarah. I'll walk you through it. Noah groaned louder than the cafe splendor. As he stood up and followed her toward the bathrooms, he caught a glimpse of himself reflected in the restaurant's glass door. The dress. The tights. The bounce in his hair. It still didn't look like him. It looked like her. And right now, she had to pee. Badly. Noah followed his mom toward the back of the cafe, where a painted wooden sign pointed toward the restrooms, 2 doors, side by side, one marked men, the other women, both under pastel lettering and a string of paper butterflies. He walked quickly, legs pressed together, skirt swishing, cheeks already burning. All he wanted was to get this over with. Get in, get out, forget it ever happened. As they neared the hallway, he made a beeline for the men's room, hand outstretched for the door. And immediately felt his mom's hand grip his wrist. Sarah, she hissed, yanking him gently, but firmly, back. He stumbled a step as she redirected him toward the women's room. What are you doing? He whispered, heart pounding. What are you doing? She whispered back. You can't go in there. I am a boy, he protested under his breath. Not right now, she replied calmly, glancing over her shoulder to make sure no one was watching. You look like a 10-year-old girl in a periwinkle dress. That's who the world sees. But I. Noah. Her voice softened, but her grip didn't. You asked me to help you. This is part of it. He looked at the women's room sign like it might bite him. I don't know what to do in there, he whispered. That's why I'm coming with you. But. No buts, she said, pushing open the door and guiding him in. Noah groaned as he stepped over the threshold, feeling like he was walking into forbidden territory. The lighting was softer, the air smelled faintly like lavender and citrus, and there were little wicker baskets with tissues and lotion near the sinks. His mom gave him an encouraging smile. Welcome to the other side. Noah stared around the room, then at the stall doors, then at the mirror, where the girl in the dress looked just as anxious as he felt. I hate magic, he muttered. His mom chuckled and opened a stall. I know, sweetie. But this will be over soon. And Noah, cheeks burning and hands trembling, took a step forward, into a lesson he never imagined learning. The bathroom stall door clicked shut behind them, and Noah stood frozen, staring at the unfamiliar setup like it was some kind of trap. His mom leaned casually against the inside wall of the stall like this was completely normal. Okay, she said gently, here's the deal. No zippers. No aiming. No standing. Noah blinked. Wait. Seriously? She gave him a patient smile. You're wearing tights, a dress, and magic-activated underwear. You really think you're going to stand up and pee right now? He stared at the toilet like it had betrayed him. But how do girls even, do they, all the way sit? Yes, she said, amused. Yes, they do. Noah groaned and pressed his hands into his face. This is so weird. This is too weird. I know, she said gently. It's confusing and awkward, but it's okay. You're safe. It's just me in here. Noah hesitated, looking down at himself, the flouncy periwinkle dress, the patterned tights, the shoes. He could already feel his bladder sending out increasingly desperate warning signals. He sighed. Okay. Just, tell me what to do. Fast. His mom walked him through it like it was a how-to guide, how to bunch up the dress, how to tug the tights down without ripping them, how to sit, and most humiliating of all, how to keep his balance while holding his skirt out of the way. By the time Noah finally sat, legs trembling and face on fire, he felt like his soul had left his body. See, his mom said kindly. Not so bad. I feel like I've been transformed inside and out, Noah muttered. And I'm not even talking about the magic. When he finished, she helped him straighten the dress again and pull the tights back into place. The mirror outside the stall caught their reflection as they washed their hands. His flushed cheeks, glossy hair, soft features. her hand gently on his shoulder. He didn't say anything. He just stared. She dried her hands and looked at him through the mirror. I know it's weird, Noah. But I'm proud of you. You're doing your best in a very magical mess. He nodded slowly. I still want to go back. I know. And you will. Just a little longer. He looked back at the stall. Do I get a sticker for surviving that? She grinned. Nope. But I'll get you dessert. Fine. That's fair. They stepped out of the bathroom together, and for the first time that day, Noah didn't bother adjusting the skirt. He just walked. Still humiliated. But also, a little stronger. Chapter 5. One last look. The sun had dipped low by the time they pulled back into Jake's driveway. Golden light spilled across the grass, casting long shadows from the wind chime on the porch. The breeze had picked up, rustling the trees and tugging gently at the hem of Noah's skirt as he stepped out of the car. He adjusted the ribbon at his waist without thinking, then caught himself and froze. Still a girl. Still Sarah. Jake and his mom followed behind, chatting casually with Noah's mom about the potion. Noah trailed behind them, quiet. Each step up the driveway felt heavier than the last. Jake glanced back. You okay?
Yeah.
Noah muttered. But he wasn't sure if that was true. Inside, the house smelled faintly of mint and cinnamon, the potion. The moms led them straight to the kitchen, where a round-bottomed cauldron bubbled softly on the counter. It glowed faintly, casting flickers of purple light across the cabinets. A glass vial rested next to it, filled with the same glowing liquid, sealed with a wax stamp. Jake's mom smiled. It's ready. Noah's heart skipped. He stared at the vial. That tiny bottle held his way back. His way to himself. Jake's mom handed it to his own mother, who held it gently and turned to him. Are you ready, Noah? He didn't answer right away. He looked down at his shoes, still those glossy black Mary Janes with the tiny white bows. He could feel the faint snugness of the tights, the soft weight of the dress around his legs, the way his hair tickled the sides of his face. He looked over at Jake. Jake didn't say anything. He just gave him that same calm, steady look he'd given back at the cafe. Not judging. Not teasing. Just being there. Noah looked back at the vial, then at his mom. Can I think for a second? She nodded. Of course. He stepped aside, quietly walking into the living room, standing near the window while the others waited. The setting sun painted the walls gold. He could see his reflection faintly in the glass, small, delicate, wearing a dress that didn't feel like him, but also didn't feel like a costume anymore. He remembered how awkward the skirt had felt when he first walked. How scared he was to speak when someone called him Sarah. How weird it had been to sit a certain way, smile a certain way, pee a certain way. But he also remembered Jake's jokes. The look of kindness from the waitress. The calm in his mom's voice when she guided him through the hardest parts. It had been embarrassing, confusing, and uncomfortable. And yet, somehow, he had survived it. He hadn't just played the role of a girl. He had lived it. For a little while. And in a strange, magical way, he had learned something about himself. Noah turned back to the kitchen. Everyone was waiting. He nodded slowly. Okay. I'm ready. His mom held out the vial, and he took it. It was warm in his hands. He took a deep breath. One last moment. One last look. Then he pulled the cork. And drank. The potion tasted like warm cinnamon and honey, with something tingly underneath, like drinking liquid stardust. Noah barely had time to lower the empty vial before the magic surged through him. It started in his chest. A soft warmth, like a glowing ember, bloomed from his heart and spread outward, up his neck, down his arms, through his legs. He gasped, eyes widening, as the tingling grew sharper, hotter, alive. The air shimmered around him. He stumbled back a step, and the transformation began. First, his hair. The soft brown locks that had tickled his neck and cheeks rippled like a wave. The strands tightened, pulled upward, and shrank in length, curling back into the shorter, messier cut he'd had before. The butterfly hair clip fell to the floor with a tiny clink, lifeless. Next, his face. He felt a strange tugging sensation as the shape of his features shifted. His cheeks flattened slightly, his jawline strengthened. The soft roundness he'd seen in the mirror all day faded away, replaced by the familiar angles of his boyish face. He brought a hand up to touch it, his hand already thicker, fingers slightly broader, nails rougher. It felt right. His voice came next. He coughed, cleared his throat. When he spoke, it came out deeper. Not deep, but his. Noah's. Whoa. He smiled. Then gasped. The dress. The silky fabric around his waist began to tighten, not like it had before, into another outfit, but reversing completely. The ribbons untied and vanished. The hem shrank upward, ruffling and twisting as the periwinkle faded into a deep gray blue. In seconds, the dress had unspooled itself into a t-shirt. The tights itched once, then melted away, dissolving like smoke, revealing his legs. The shoes shimmered. The glossy Mary Janes lost their shine. The bows peeled away. The straps vanished. The black morphed into scuffed white sneakers with dirt along the soles and worn laces, his sneakers. Noah stood still. He looked down at himself. At his legs, his hands, his t-shirt, his shorts. Everything normal. Everything him. The air stopped glowing. The tingling faded. And for the first time all day, he felt whole. Jake let out a low whistle from behind him. Dude. That was insane. Noah turned around, grinning, wide and real.
Yeah.
You're telling me. His mom stepped forward, wrapping him in a tight hug. I'm proud of you. I'm so glad that's over, he muttered into her shoulder. But in the back of his mind, buried under all the relief, was a strange, tiny whisper of memory. A memory of a girl in the mirror. A girl he had been. And how, somehow, he'd come out stronger for it. Later that evening, Noah and Jake sat on the back porch, their legs dangling over the wooden steps. The sun had slipped below the horizon, leaving behind streaks of pink and gold in the sky. Fireflies blinked lazily in the grass, and the air was thick with the hum of summer. Neither of them spoke for a while. Noah picked at a blade of grass between his fingers, the cool breeze tugging gently at his now short hair. He wore his regular clothes again, t-shirt, shorts, sneakers. Just a normal kid again. But he didn't feel exactly the same. Jake finally broke the silence. So, are you gonna tell anyone? Noah shook his head. No way. Jake nodded. Me neither. More silence. Then Noah said, it was weird. Being a girl. But it wasn't just that. It was how people treated me. How I had to think about everything. The way I walked, talked, sat. Even how I smiled. Jake gave him a sideways glance. But you did it. You pulled it off. Noah chuckled. Barely. And don't remind me about the bathroom. They both laughed. Then Jake asked, do you wish it hadn't happened? Noah thought about that. He thought about the pink dress, the name of Sarah, the bathroom panic, the tea party shoes. The awkwardness, the frustration, the embarrassment. But he also thought about his mom's steady support. Jake's teasing, but quiet loyalty. The way people smiled at him without knowing anything had changed. He looked up at the stars beginning to twinkle overhead. I don't know, Noah said softly. I don't ever want to do it again. But I think I'm glad it happened. Jake nodded. You're still you. Noah smiled.
Yeah.
I'm still me. He leaned back on his elbows, staring up at the darkening sky. Just Noah. No magic. No mirror tricks. No skirt swish. Just himself. And somehow, that felt more magical than anything.